royalty has shown up to race Steel City. The king of Supercross has arrived to line up next to the king of motocross. Ricky Carmichael and Jeremy McGrath reunited on the track. At the bottom of the royal order is Mike Alessi, returning with the lesson that top fives are not free. And is 8 enough? RC could become an 8-time national motocross champ.
Let's ride.
And we welcome you to Pennsylvania. We're in Delmont for the AMA Chevrolet Motocross Championship. And hello once again, everyone. This is the Kawasaki Nationals at Steel City, presented by Subway. Todd Harris along with Davey Coombs, Jamie Little down in the pits. Well, the fanfare has been built to a crescendo. They are all here to see these two gentlemen, Ernesto Fonseca, Jeremy McGrath, and Ricky Carmichael together again.
You know, Todd, these guys have been having fun all weekend long, being teammates in the Honda rig. Check out this graphic. These are the career wins of Carmichael and McGrath compared to the rest of the field. An astonishing amount of championships and race wins. And check it out, 18 for MC and RC and 1 for everyone else. If not for Chad Reed, that'd be a big goose egg.
And Ricky Carmichael still has some business, though, this weekend.
Be an important weekend for me this weekend. I have a chance to wrap up the title. I think I got to get like 5 points over the course of the weekend. So just looking forward to trying to go out there and win the race and win the title. That's our #1 goal for the weekend.
Not to correct Ricky's math, but it's 6 points that he needs to wrap up the title. There you see the points, Carmichael, Reed, and Villeman, your top 3. So with Ricky Carmichael only needing 6 points, takes a lot of pressure off Chad Reed. He's pretty much resigned to the fact that he'll get second, and he gets a chance to talk to his lifelong idol in Jeremy McGrath. Well, Jeremy McGrath is back. That possibly is the biggest news of the weekend, and here's why.
It all boils down to me keeping my number, really. That's what it's about. It would be unrealistic and way too much pressure to put on myself to really think I was going to come here and win some motos. I mean, that's unrealistic. I mean, years ago that was my job, and that was what I came to the races to do. And now I really enjoy watching Ricky dominate, or watching Stewart, or watching Reed and Wyndham. You know, I enjoy it. I'm a fan of the sport.
And at the other end of the spectrum, Mike Alessi making his debut at Millville, and it was a little auspicious.
Well, he's back for more, and as you can see, and other riders in the past in their second national have done much better, especially Carmichael. This time, Alessi flew way in under the radar.
Well, as they get ready for Moto #1, Jeremy McGrath, that's just a great sight to see. Let's check in with our track facts, and Davey, no one knows more about this track than you.
Well, the reason McGrath picked this track is because it's one of his favorite ones, and admittedly, it's one of the easiest ones on the circuit. It's fast, and it's fun, and a lot of really cool jumps and off-cambers.
Right now, before we go racing, let's check in with Jamie Little down on the track.
Jeremy McGrath has not raced a national since 2000, so all of us were excited to see what his lap times would be in practice. Yesterday, he was 7th fastest, and today he was 6th fastest, 5 seconds off of RC's fastest time. But look at how cool this is. You have Jeremy McGrath, Ricky Carmichael, and Chad Reed on the starting line in a 250 class for the first time ever. A prelude to next year?
Well, as we take a look at our Honda starting grid, there is Ricky Carmichael, Chad Reed, Kevin Wyndham, David Villeman. I'll tell you what, Jeremy McGrath, seeing his name on there, it does a heart good.
Yeah, Jeremy did not have to ride a qualifier. As a past champion, he's automatically seeded in, but you can see the name right below him, Mike Alessi, number 800. He was the fastest qualifier, and to tell you the truth, his lap time was faster than McGrath's this morning.
It is a star-studded event here in Delmont, Pennsylvania, as the 30 board goes sideways. This is Moto #1 of the 250 class.
A real short start here. It's uphill into a left-hander, and the gate drops. Here they come, and it looks like McGrath with a great start around the outside. And I think it's Kyle Lewis out front.
Kyle Lewis, number 23, on board the Honda. A bit of a pileup right there. We've got riders. It's Justin Buckaloo going down and going down hard. The 158 rider from Riverside, California. Back to the front of the pack we go, and it is Kyle Lewis, number 23, with Ricky Carmichael in tow.
You see Chad Reed right there in third. McGrath getting off to a pretty good start. Same with Mike Alessi. And now,
Wow, McGrath in that pileup. Alessi's in the pileup.
Chad Reed's down 2. Joaquin Rodriguez. And there it looks like Nick Wade. Wow, a lot of star power on the ground in the third corner.
On the left side of your screen, you'll see Chad Reed coming in view. Davey, what happened?
Well, you can see Ricky bounced off the jump, and right there, Reed did the same thing. Rodriguez taking a different line, hit him on the outside, and then you see Hamlin go down. McGrath had no choice. And look at that. You see Reed giving Rodriguez a little push there. And I got to tell you, I don't think that was Rodriguez's fault. All weekend long, guys have been going inside or outside. And when Reed bounced off that jump, he was sitting in Rodriguez's line.
Very uncharacteristic of Chad Reed to lose his cool right there, but he is extremely upset with Joaquin Rodriguez, and we'll have to find out. Well, they'll both have a take on that. Meanwhile, Ricky Carmichael has jumped out in front.
That is not a big surprise, is it?
No. He dispatched Kyle Lewis rather quickly on that first lap.
But, you know, this is the thing about Carmichael. Every big name out there, it seems like, was in that pileup, and Carmichael somehow evades it. I mean, it's like he rides with a bubble around him, like a halo. He never gets into pileups. He never has a problem. That's how you get a perfect season going, and that's what's so astonishing about the fact that he is working on his second perfect season. How do you go 2 years and never get into a pileup like that?
Ricky Carmichael sees it well before it's going to happen, and now you see the lead that he has over Kyle Lewis. Clark Stiles now just coming into view, sitting in third place.
You see Billaman in fourth and Kevin Windham in fifth. They weren't involved in the pileup, but I'm sure they got caught up behind it. And look at the gap that Carmichael and Lewis have on everyone, just by virtue of being the two guys who got through before Rodriguez and Reed collided.
Clark Stiles in third. Kevin Windham now moves into fourth, and David Billaman sits in fifth.
I tell you, they got to get around Clark Stiles quicker than that,
yeah,
if they're going to have a chance. That's the difference between James Stewart in the 125 class and some of these guys in 250 classes. They're almost riding tentatively.
Yeah, Bubba gets to a rider, and he dispatches them quickly, and it looks like these guys are trying to find the perfect line. Meanwhile, Ricky Carmichael, your leader, is just getting away from them quickly, and they still have Kyle Lewis to get around, who sits in second.
Yeah, and granted, one thing, the thing that Stewart doesn't have to worry about is having a guy behind him come up and pass him. So maybe Kevin's riding a little defensively as he gets the inside line there on Stiles. Maybe he was worried about Billaman behind him. Either way, Carmichael is gone.
So Ricky Carmichael leads. Kyle Lewis sits in second, and Kevin Windham has now moved into third, and Kevin Windham riding with a certain sense of urgency here that we haven't seen in a while.
You know, Kevin Windham's beaten Carmichael here before, back when they were riding 125s, but at that point, Carmichael was a different rider, Kevin was a different rider, and now, you know, I know, whoa, almost off to the side of the track. I know that Kevin is third in the standings, and that's pretty great for a lot of guys, but he came into this Outdoor Nationals thinking that he might have something for Ricky. And check it out. You can see Ricky squirt along the track at the top of the picture. That's how far out in front he is one lap into this. Windham was hoping to run with Carmichael all summer long, and it just has not happened. In fact, Reed has gotten the better of Windham most of the summer. So Billaman was able to go by Stiles as well. Taking a look back at the field, that's Jeremy McGrath, 24th place, right next to Fonseca.
So Jeremy McGrath not having the return he was hoping for, but he said at the top of the show he was expecting to come out here and win motos, but I don't think he anticipated that big pileup in the first turn.
Yeah, he was definitely having top 7, top 8 speed through qualifying, and once the competitive juices clicked in, he knew he was going to be up there. I mean, he's nice with Fonseca. Fonseca's the top 5 guy in the Outdoor Nationals.
No question about that. Also in that pileup, number 800, Mike Alessi. Love him or hate him, the kid can ride a bike, no question about it. We'll see how his progress proceeds throughout this first moto. But this is Jeremy McGrath returning back, holding on to that number 2 number, and that makes Anaheim 1 on January 8th that much more special.
I can't wait to see him back on a Supercross track. You know, this is a big surprise, and Jeremy decided at the last minute to come out and ride this event, but Anaheim's going to be amazing.
Back to Delmont in a moment.
Who's ready to ride?
The new CRFs from Honda. Who wants to ride?
Magazine, the most widely read and trusted source for motorcycling information. We are back to Delmont, Pennsylvania for the Kawasaki Nationals at Steel City, presented by Subway. Todd Harris along with Davey Coombs and Jamie Little. There's your leader, Ricky Carmichael, here in moto number 1, and he is all but checked out.
Well, Goose put on the board, big lead, but meanwhile, back in second place, Kyle Lewis of the Moto XXX Honda team is leading Kevin Windham, and well, it looks like he's got a little trail going there. Must have lost his roll-off, but Kyle Lewis has been picking up the pace here late in the summer. You know, he missed off Supercross with an injury, and he's a veteran. He knows that every point is valuable, and nothing be better for him than a top 5 right now.
You know, not to be trivial, but that's got to be a distraction for Kevin Windham.
Yeah,
he's got that streamer running in his face.
I have a feeling it's a distraction for Kyle Lewis too, but there's nothing you can do. Sometimes those things come loose, and oh, did you see that? Nice little move by Windham to pop down that hole. Now he's got the inside line out this long row of tabletops, so Windham is able to take second. Yeah, that is distracting, whether it's on you or it's on the guy you're following.
Kyle Lewis is trying to get it pulled off, and so far has been unsuccessful. He yields up second position to Kevin Windham. So Kyle Lucky Lewis right now not so lucky with the extra appendage running on his bike, currently in 3rd, and Windham sits in 4th.
There you see Sean Hamlin a ways back. Sebastian Tortelli in 6th. He avoided that pileup. Styles now dropped back a little bit, and then Ando.
Well, word is that Chad Reed is off the track. Let's check in quickly with Jamie Little down on the track.
Yeah, we just saw Reed come in. What's he saying?
There's a big problem with the rear brake. There's a part broken on it, so he's got absolutely no rear brake. And with a track like this with hills and stuff, tough day.
Did you see what happened out there?
No, I just looked down and missed it. Something happened, and they come together in that corner. I don't know. A bunch of people piled into him, and that's I think what happened. He got tangled up with somebody, and then made him tip over, and then somebody hit him from behind. That's where the problem came from.
Not too often we see Chad Reed in the back of the pack.
Well, that was an unfortunate situation, and for Joaquin Rodriguez, it got even worse when Chad pushed his bike over.
Sort of insult to injury. Now, check out Micah Alessi kind of moving up through the pack. That's Evan Lockridge. He was just able to pass. Alessi, of course, involved in that pileup, and he is already up to 8th place. You see him grab a tear off there, and again, Alessi trying to make up for a disastrous debut. I don't think anyone's had a debut that bad since Jean-Michel Bayle rode his first Supercross back in 1989 and ended up watching 19.5 laps from the hay bale that he landed on. Alessi, no points, and now he's moving up on some pretty quick guys. Saw him just past Lockridge, and now he's moving up on Anderson. Look how little he is on that bike. I still can't believe he decided to ride a 450 instead of a 250 or even a 125.
Well, I'll tell you what, no one has ever doubted this kid's ability or his speed. I think it's the off-track incidences or comments that have got him in a little bit of hot water with the rest of the community, but kid can flat out ride.
Yeah, and you know what? Speaking of some of that off-track stuff, what did we motocross journalists do before the fabulous Alessis came along? I mean, you got to admit, they put some spice into the summer. Wherever they go, an internet story is sure to follow.
They are set to jump over to KTM at the next stop, which will be Glen Helen, but late word is that they might not race that, so the drama continues. Meanwhile, no drama here. Ricky Carmichael just goes out there like a hard-working 9-to-5 man.
Yeah, it's almost easy to forget that Carmichael has 7 more days left with Team Honda. And you know, we talk about James Stewart's dominance in the 125 class. Todd, in the last 3 years, this guy has lost less nationals than James Stewart. Ricky Carmichael has only lost 2 nationals in 3 years, and now he's going to leave Honda. That is a huge story, and if not for sort of the white noise and the strange things come out of the Alessi camp, we'd be talking about what an astonishing move this is after winning every championship he competed for on a Honda, that he is leaving for Team Suzuki after 1 more race.
I know it's a business, but from a fan's perspective, it just doesn't seem right. It's like Michael Schumacher leaving Ferrari. Ricky Carmichael is Honda, but we'll have to get used to him on the yellow bike under the tent with Roger DaCosta. But what has he done for that company?
You know what? He put Honda back on the motocross map. It took them years to recover from losing Jeremy McGrath, and I think it's going to take a while to recover from this, maybe even longer, because this kid coming up here, number 800, he was supposed to be their next big red hope, and he's already going orange. So they're going to have a team next year, some good guys, but not the star power that they've been used to with McGrath and Carmichael. And you know, it's going to be a tough time. And just as Ricky was able to put Honda back on the map, that's what Suzuki's hoping for, because they're going to lose this rider right here, 36, Sean Hamlin, as he's starting to have Alessi closing on. Now imagine you're Hamlin, you don't have a job next year, and here comes this kid up behind you. If that's not a lot of pressure, the one guy you do not want to beat you at Steel City this weekend is Mike Alessi.
Sean Hamlin, number 36, takes a look over, and there you see the difference. Kyle Lewis back in the running again. Now he's on to 4th place. Remember, Kyle Lewis got our whole shot. He has slid back to 4th. He's got a great battle going here with number 103, and that is Sebastian Tortelli, maybe the most improved rider this year, coming off a serious injury, but the way he's been riding, Davey, the last 4 or 5 weeks, he has been phenomenal.
There's no doubt. And you know what? I think that he's really, really happy about the fact that Carmichael is going to be his teammate next year, and the aggressiveness that he has is it's good to see Sebastian back up there.
Carmichael, Wyndham, and Villeman, your top 3 back after this. The Time Machine is taking us back to the days when Steel City was the final round of the series, but more importantly, in 1993, it was the final 500cc AMA motocross race ever held. Mike LaRocco came into the round with a 9-point lead over Jeff Stanton. Stanton wasted no time overtaking Lance Smale for the lead, and at the same time, Mike Kedrowski passed LaRocco for 3rd. Stanton needed to win at all costs, but the defending champion Kedrowski wasn't taking offers, and he passed Stanton for the lead. Number 2 couldn't get the position back, and Stanton only gained 2 points on LaRocco, who finished 3rd. In Moto 2, Steve Lamson took the whole shot, followed by Mike Jones. Yes, that's Mad Mike getting passed by Kedrowski. The MX kid worked his way past Lamson, who later is worked over by LaRocco. Stanton still needing 7 points on LaRocco for the title, doesn't get help from his own teammate Lamson. So much for team tactics. Kedrowski took the double moto sweep, and LaRocco won his first ever national title and the last 500cc AMA Motocross Series championship. And we are back to the present day racing, the Kawasaki Nationals at Steel City, presented by Subway. Todd Harris along with Davey Coombs, and we got a great battle here. Kyle Lewis minus his tail being pressured now by number 103, Sebastian Tortelli.
Kyle is putting in a fantastic ride. This is the kind of track that Tortelli really likes. Lots of off cambers. Kind of reminds him of growing up on the GP circuit. So Lewis doing a fine job on the 4-stroke, holding off that RM250 of the former 2-time world champion.
Sebastian Tortelli, number 103, David, we talked about earlier in the show. This kid has come back from some serious injuries, and he is just riding with so much passion. Roger DeCosta's got to be thrilled about having him.
Yeah, look at that right there. A nice, aggressive move by Tortelli. And yeah, you're right. DeCosta loves Sebastian. He understands the hardships he's been through with the knee injuries and everything, and now he's just doing the best he can. And it looks like Alessi, at the same time, has gone around Sean Hamlin.
Mike Alessi, number 800, on board the Honda, soon will be switching over to the KTM. And you're right, Mike Alessi now into 6th place as Sean Hamlin goes back to 7th. Let's look at it again.
All right, this is the long shot from the other side of the track. Check out Hamlin. Give him a look over, a little brake check. Alessi's played that game on mini bikes before. Turns it inside out, takes it right to the outside, runs him out of real estate. Smart move by the kid.
And the way Mike Alessi's riding, he's just putting on a show. Let's check in with Jamie Little.
Mike's looking so smooth. He's gone pretty much from the back of the pack all the way up to 7th.
Yeah, he's been training, he's been going good, and he felt good about coming here.
Little less pressure. You think that's the difference today?
Yeah, there wasn't that much media. The focus wasn't on Mike as much this weekend, so I think a little bit less pressure. He's doing a lot better.
Well, he's learning all the lessons real quick about pile-ups and how to work your way through the pack.
Yeah, we're proud of him.
All right, keep up the good work.
You know, Jamie touched on something right there. Think about that. Alessi was in that pile-up with all those other big stars, from McGrath to Nick Way to Ernesto Fonseca, and he has come up through the pack quicker than all of them.
Well, no question, the kid can ride, and he is fast, and he will learn lessons quickly. Meanwhile, we're getting a good look at Clark Stiles as he comes through the pack. Number 34 being followed closely by number 24 on the Honda, Ernesto Fonseca.
And Mike Byrne is right behind them. Byrne went down on the outside of the 2nd corner all by himself, got in the loose stuff. You also see Heath Voss and Nick Way back there. So couple really high two-digit number guys, or I should say low two-digit numbers, all right there together. 5 guys within 10 digits.
Fonseca gets around Clark Stiles, and here comes Mike Byrne. It looks like Clark Stiles is having some problems because he is about dropping anchors. 2 guys go past him. If it's a bike problem or what, but Fonseca and Byrne move up a position.
Well, Clark had a good start. He avoided that pileup, but these are the big hitters coming up through, and there's just not a lot you can do about it. There's Alessi using that trick line off to the side of the jump, kind of scrubbing speed, and now he's moving up on Kyle Lewis, and I can't believe this. Todd, Kyle Lewis was winning 125 Supercross races before Mike Alessi was even born.
He is young and he is talented, as is Lucky Lewis, number 23, who just sits ahead, and oh, Alessi almost throws it away right there. Backs it off just a little bit, but Mike Alessi currently sitting in 6th place. Remember, he was involved in that pileup with Jeremy McGrath, Chad Reed, and Rodriguez. Here's Ricky Carmichael, though, your leader. He is all checked out as the white flag comes out for the last lap.
You see Mike Gosler, 04 champ, and that's what Ricky is. In fact, it should be 8-time champ.
Unbelievable. Ricky Carmichael has rewritten the record books. He has been a stellar champion. He has said and done all the right things. Let's send it down to Jamie, who's with Mike Gosler.
Well, Mike, you can officially say you guys have 3 championships together. How's it feel?
Pretty special.
A very emotional time for Mike Gosler and Davey, understandably so, what they've accomplished together.
It's been magic. You know, a lot of people thought, could Carmichael do it without Chad Watts, you know, the other great mechanic he spent the first part of his career with? Well, he has done it with Mike Gosler. It's just been magic together, almost unbeatable in outdoor motocross. And, you know, now the big question is, will Ricky take Gosler with him to Suzuki? And no one said anything yet, but I can't see these two breaking up for any reason. And if it's any indication, Mike Gosler's son, Chris Gosler, is going to be riding a Suzuki next year. So if his rider goes and his son goes, I don't see how Gosler's going to stay with Honda.
Well, if you're Ricky Carmichael, as smart as he is, why would you let him go? He has absolutely been dominating both on Supercross and on motocross, but this year he has been perfect, and we look at the domination there on the graphics. 73 wins.
It's just, you know, that's more than twice as many as Hannah had, as RJ had. This is going to mark his 24th consecutive moto win, and you know, he's moving up on that record. It's you know, we talk about James Stewart's dominance, but this guy is more dominant in outdoor motocross.
He will wrap up the title at Steel City, the spot that used to be the finale. Now we have the finale at Glen Helen this year, but how appropriate that Ricky Carmichael wraps up yet another title at this historic track. Your winner, 250 Moto number 1 and 2004 champion, Ricky Carmichael. We'll be back to talk to the champ after this short break. Pennsylvania, this was the scene moments ago at the Steel City Nationals presented by Subway.
I want to give this to my man right here, Mike Gosler.
Real good job, Ricky.
As Ricky Carmichael claimed yet another number 1 plate and promptly gave it to his mechanic, Mike Gosler. Well, there you see the standings. After Moto 1, Carmichael clinches, and he is now standing by with Jamie Little.
Ricky Carmichael making it happen. Unbelievable. Like I said, always history in the making. Your 5th consecutive 250 outdoor title, Ricky.
I can't believe it. It hasn't sunken in yet, and I didn't think I'd be here when I was at Hangtown, you know. Man, it's just been an awesome ride, and like I said, it hasn't sunken in. I still got another moto to go, but I'm really happy.
What a rebound. You missed the entire Supercross season with your first major injury. Come back and you win this title. Is it a monkey off your back?
It's definitely a monkey off my back. I never thought that I would have been able to do it in this fashion, and I tell you, everything is going really good. I've said before that I'm just having a lot of fun racing. You know, as I get older, I appreciate what I do a lot more, and I love it.
As we take a look at our Suzuki final results, it's Carmichael getting the win in the title, followed by Wyndham and Villeman, your top 3. Sebastian Tortelli with a great run in 4th. And Mike Alessi, tremendous performance in 5th place. On the second page, there's Jeremy McGrath in 15th. Unfortunately, Chad Reed finishes in 17th. Let's send it back down to Jamie Little, who's with K-Dub.
Kevin Wyndham back up here on the podium, and How in the world did you avoid those 3 pileups? And I guess it was all in the first lap.
Yeah, that was pretty tight, and the one little pileup in between the rhythm jumps, you know, the whole track was taken up, and I was just lucky enough to be far enough back. I was able to go right off the track, get around it, and hop back on. It seemed like it was the whole track wide, and I know it took a lot of guys down, but fortunately I was able to get through it, and I guess that was the good part about being back a little bit. I picked my way through the pileup, but I need to get a better start and ride a little bit better in the second moto.
Hey, folks, just a reminder, but nobody does more to protect your right to ride than the American Motorcyclists Association. Every racer on the track, including Ricky Carmichael and Kevin Windham, is an AMA member. How about you? Call 1-800-AMA-JOIN or visit AMADirectLink.com. The AMA writes, riding, and racing. Well, this week's subject of Outside the Lines, the Extreme Pit Bike Nationals right here at Steel City. Saturday nights at the Nationals were once reserved for campfires and bench racing. With the Extreme Pit Bike National, campers are off the bench and out racing what was once considered the nuisance of the paddock, the pit bike.
A few years ago, you know, pit bikes at the Nationals were kind of taboo. They can be a nuisance if you use them for, you know, for disruptive behavior. But out on the track, the fans get behind it. They get a chance to see some real close battles out there, and it's something you can cheer for and kind of root for, and then it gives you ideas to when you get home what to do with your own little group of buddies.
One well-known name who has taken on the mini craze is former national champion Guy Cooper. In addition to racing mini bikes, Cooper is also an importer for Extreme Motor Company, makers of race-ready minis.
You know, to start out with, you can get a couple grand put into one of these things and race at a local race, and then you can get stupid like we are and just keep putting more money into it. But it's a lot of fun.
It's like kind of a little release, you know. You get to come out and have some fun and get away from some of the stress of working on bikes all weekend, all day, and just constantly working, so you get a little bit of play.
You know, the mini bikes are something that you can do in your backyard, and these Extreme mini bikes are going all over the United States. I have guys calling me, wanting me to come up and ride at their back track and stuff, and I crisscross the United States, so I get a chance to ride in a lot of people's backyards, and it's a lot of fun.
When we come back, the champ goes for the clean sweep at Steel City. In Pennsylvania, the Kawasaki Nationals at Steel City, presented by Subway. Before we get set to run Moto 2, let's check in with Jamie Little.
Things are a little different for the Alessi camp this week. They came in kind of under the radar, and after moving up from 30th all the way to 5th in Moto 1, Mike went back to the truck, reviewed the tape, asked some questions. Remember, guys, he won 11 amateur championships. The kid doesn't make the same mistake twice. I think his riding is doing the talking now.
As we take a look at the Honda starting grid, Ricky Carmichael, Chad Reed, Kevin Windham, David Willem, and Michael Byrne. Mike Alessi's in there in the 12th position, and the rest of the crew. Jeremy McGrath got his points, and I think that's maybe the biggest story, second only to Ricky Carmichael's title.
Well, I think it definitely takes the pressure off Jeremy now. He just wants to have some fun and see how fast he can go. 15th place is not indicative of just how fast he was in that first moto.
Moto number 2 from Delmont, Pennsylvania.
Right up the middle, it looks like it's Carmichael with the whole shot. It is. Ricky Carmichael obviously not resting on his laurels. It looked like McGrath was about in the top 5. Oh,
Ryder goes down. That's 5:05.
John Bora, tough break. One guy goes down, and this time it's not one of the stars, it's Bora. So Carmichael and Reed, this is what Reed had in mind in the first moto. Yep. Start with Ricky, stay with Ricky. Right here's that when you kind of lose confidence, and he has lost confidence.
Thanks, Roddy. Hi, everybody.
And, you know, right now he's moving up, but again, you know, he's not moving up fast enough.
Well, the stars are all in play out in front. The top 5, unbelievable. It's a who's who with Kevin Windham now checking into 5th place. McGrath ahead of him. Mike Alessi's up there. And don't forget Ricky Carmichael and Chad Reed running 1 and 2 right now here in Moto number 2 at Delmont.
They see Nick Way running 7. Nick Way had a good ride in the first moto, but, you know, again, he started out behind everyone. Well, not everyone, but he started out behind Ricky and those guys because he was involved in that pileup. Nick Way, another guy, Todd, racing for a job right now. You were talking about the musical chairs where people can be when they stop. right now, Nick Way's got to hope that music doesn't stop playing because he's got nowhere to ride.
And my assessment of Nick, I don't know if you'd agree, I think he's a great rider. He's got to find a spot somewhere. Someone's crazy not to pick him up.
He's a great rider. He's a good kid. He's well-rounded. He's got Jeff Stanton in his corner, a fellow Michiganer. Right. But, you know, it's one of those things where he just needs to get,
Rodriguez, full compression.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think Nick just needs that really good ride to get his confidence level up.
So Nick Way moves up to 6th place. Just ahead of him is Kevin Windham in 5th. The 27 Suzuki rider out of Michigan, Way looking for a tremendous performance here. And as Davey pointed out, that first moto not kind to him as he was mixed up in that whole pile with Chad Reed and Joaquin Rodriguez.
There you see David Billiman. He was 3rd place in the first moto. He's starting to move up as well. And Billiman trying to get on the podium in the second moto as well.
There's your running order. Carmichael, Reed, Alessi, McGrath, and Windham, top 5. To Delmont, Pennsylvania, the penultimate event here of the AMA Chevrolet Motocross Championship with just Glenn Helen to go. Your leader out in front, number 4, Ricky Carmichael in moto number 1. He wrapped up the title, so he makes it 8 titles. A lot of work being done by that young man, and all of it has been fantastic.
Yeah, you know what? Chad Reed is running in 2nd right now, and you can see Reed is not letting Ricky get away. You know, the championship is already over, but I have a feeling these two guys are getting a feel for each other and where they're going to be when Supercross starts up. I think Reed's trying to let him know that he's not going to give up.
This is the battle for 4th place. Number 14 on board the Honda is Kevin Windham just ahead of him. Number 2, Jeremy McGrath, also on a Honda. Great battle here. Some names from the past with a lot of great history.
It's so cool to see those guys battling against. Windham goes by on the inside right there. You know, Windham McGrath, that was the battle we were expecting in like 2000 or so. So it's good to see these guys out here racing together, both on red. And, you know, it's got to be good for Honda to have Ricky Carmichael, Kevin Windham, Jeremy McGrath, even Mike Alessi all riding red this weekend.
This race, Davey, really is the past, the present, and the future. You have Ricky Carmichael, who certainly is the present, and Chad Reed. The past with Jeremy McGrath coming back, and the future, Mike Alessi.
Yeah, somewhere, I got to tell you, I'm sure James Stewart is watching these guys from the sidelines. He just wrapped up another 125 win.
Back to the front of the pack, this is Ricky Carmichael, and that's what Davey's talking about. Chad Reed is very close, and this is something we haven't seen in a long time. Ricky gets a whole shot. Usually he checks out within the first lap or 2.
Yeah, on a track like Steel City especially, he's very comfortable here. He's done well all of his life, so I think that Reed is really just trying to ride to get into Ricky's head. I know January is a long way away, but, you know, these guys are professionals, and everything has meaning. Everything has a purpose. Every position matters. Every second matters.
Here comes Mike Alessi, number 800, currently sitting in 3rd, and Kevin Windham right behind him in 4th.
That sounds even weirder than McGrath.
Yes, it does.
McGrath and Windham battling. I really didn't expect this from Mike Alessi. I'm really stoked for him and his family because, I mean, they had a tough 3 weeks since Millville, but, I mean, I don't know where the critics are listening to this or watching, but you have got to be impressed by Mike Alessi. This is what we expected at Millville. Well, this is what his dad expected at Millville.
16 years of age, number 800, Mike Alessi on board the Honda. Will be making the switch over to KTM, but right now he's got a rear view mirror full of number 14, that's Kevin Windham.
Alessi still looks small in that 450. I would love to have seen him on a 250 or a 125 here, but he's really doing a good job on the Honda. What is, like you said, his last ride.
What do you think about Mike Alessi and James Stewart? I know everyone thinks those are the 2 phenoms of the future, but we'll never get a chance really to see them race against each other, will we?
No, we won't. And you know what? I don't think you can put Mike Alessi in James Stewart's class, to be honest with you. James Stewart is such a phenomenal talent. Mike Alessi is a prodigy, but James Stewart is a god. I mean, that guy, you know, the moment he landed, he was the fastest guy on the track. And, whoa, looks like McGrath is having some problems there. He is pulled off, looking down.
Yeah, he's looking down. The Fun Bike Center Honda number 2 bike of Jeremy McGrath. We're fortunate enough just to get him back here for a weekend. I don't want to be greedy, but this will be a travesty if we don't get to see him finish out Moto 2.
I don't know if it's something with his rear brake or something with the pipe. But McGrath, the bike is still running. He looks fine. He doesn't even look like he's sweated yet. McGrath pulling out. I know this was not what he expected.
Back to the racing action. This is 800 Mike Alessi having a nice little battle here with Kevin Windham. And talk about the experience Kevin Windham has on Mike Alessi. You talked about Alessi, not in the same class as Stewart, but he has the potential to get up in that area.
Yeah, he certainly does. But the 125 class is full of stars. No one is going to dominate like James Stewart did these last 3 years. But as far as where he's riding right now, I hope that Alessi's taking notes, because every second he spends on the track, whether he's in front of or behind Kevin Windham, he's going to be learning something.
No question about that. Meanwhile, your leader, Ricky Carmichael, out in front. Chad Reed sits in second. This is the battle for third place. 800 is Michael Alessi, 14 is Kevin Windham. And look at this. The setup, here it comes.
There he goes on the inside. You could see that one coming. He had that set. Oh, and Alessi comes right back. A good try to make a pass, but Windham gets by. Like Jamie said at the top of the moto, you know, Alessi's not going to make the same mistake twice, but in this case, he just let Windham set him up in the previous corner.
Yeah, it was a classic setup. You can see it coming. Watch it again.
He goes outside, shoots across the inside, and he's got the inside. But look, right here, Alessi tries to cut back under, so he tried to repass Windham right away, but Windham's a little too strong for that.
Kevin Windham with a strong move takes him to third place. Michael Alessi now sits in fourth. And let's find out what's going on with Jeremy McGrath. Let's send it down to Jamie Little trackside.
Jerry, you were looking so solid. What happened?
Oh, yeah, I just had a little mechanical. That was a fun ride. I finally got a good start. And, you know, the first moto was just the hardest points I ever got, I think. Had to fight for every position, and I went down. Well, I went down the pile-up on the start and over here in that corner with Reed and them, and then that moto was looking good.
Well, the word is out. We'll see Jeremy McGrath January 8th for Supercross Anaheim 1. Get your tickets now. Meanwhile, Heath Voss currently sitting in 8th place, having a great battle with 103. That's Sebastian Tortelli. I've said it before. I'll say it again. This kid rides with so much passion, and I think, Davey, it's what he knows what he was missing for the last year.
You know, the talk in the pits, you know, kind of sarcastic, is that Sebastian Tortelli should not ride Supercross. If he were healthy when he got to the Outdoor Nationals each summer, he probably would have something for Ricky Carmichael. But as it works out, he always seems to get hurt. It always seems to be his knee. But he comes back here at the end of the season, and he's trying really hard. And by the way, I'm going to take a guess at what happened to McGrath's bike. I think the pipe popped off, the head pipe, whenever he bounced one of these jumps. It had to have been something like that.
We'll find out. Ricky Carmichael continues to lead, followed by Reed, Windham, Michael Alessi, and Nick Wey, your top 5 here at Delmont. We're back towards the conclusion of Moto number 2 here in Delmont, Pennsylvania, the Steel City Nationals presented by Subway. Todd Harris along with Davey Coombs in the booth, and Ricky Carmichael absolutely dominating. Chad Reed ran with him for a while, but just not able to close the gap.
Well, you see, Ricky, you know, he's not going to make a lot of mistakes out there. He has always been known as a perfectionist. You just saw the Honda guy on the side of the track giving him the go-ahead. What's it going to be like, Todd, to be on Team Honda next year? All those autograph lines, all those championships, they are in for a big, big transition.
This is the battle for 6 involving number 103 on board the Suzuki, Sebastian Tortelli, Michael Byrne, number 26 in 6th place right now, and Tortelli's trying to take it away.
Tortelli never stopped charging. He didn't get that great of a start, at least not compared to what Ricky, Reed, and Alessi got, but he's not giving up.
And he's a great rider.
He's a fantastic rider, you know, and Sebastian, you might not find a nicer guy in the pits or a more humble guy. You'd never guess he's a 2-time world champion. Maybe that's because he's had so many bad things happen to him since he came to America, as far as injuries and bad luck and whatnot, but Tortelli never stops smiling, never stops charging.
26, Michael Byrne on board the Kawasaki. Took a lot of time to get to that corner, and that closed the gap for Sebastian Tortelli. Now he sees a spot. Look at that. Airing it out. High risk, high rewards, and he picks up another position.
Man, that was a great pass. I remember one time Jeff Emig passed Jeremy McGrath there, the exact same spot back in '96. That basically meant the 250 National Championship that year. For Tortelli, it's just pride. Oh, a little panic right there.
Well, all I can say, and I'll take this opportunity to say, this track is fantastic. The folks here, Davey, you guys should be very proud, because these guys are riding at the highest caliber on our final lap, Ricky Carmichael, because you guys have done such a great job at Delmont.
Well, the crew here really is dedicated, and they've been working this track since 1983, so full respect to those guys, and full respect to this guy, Carmichael. Now 2 laps in about, well, 2 motos in about half a lap away from another perfect season. Who would have thought that was possible?
Meanwhile, Chad Reed has to resign himself to what could have been. Unfortunately, that first lap pileup in moto number 1 really took him out of the running and keeping Ricky from not being able to clinch until he got to Glen Helen, California. But Carmichael's never had to clinch at the last stop, so it keeps the flow going. Meanwhile, Nick Way, number 27, having his hands full with another Suzuki for 5th, and that's Sebastian Tortelli. Look at Tortelli throwing that bike around.
He's good when he's riding without burns. I mean, he's obviously great on burns. So look at that, Tortelli goes so well on the inside of those corners, those off cameras like I was talking about. And you know what? These two guys are starting to sneak up on Alessi, who is riding in 4th.
Well, Mike Alessi right now sits in 4th, as Davey pointed out, and my math is correct. Alessi is in a podium position, which would be monumental. But speaking of podiums, Ricky Carmichael has seen his fair share of podiums, and he will do it again here today. Steel City, Delmont, Pennsylvania, the site where Carmichael clinches yet another title, and he does it in unbelievable fashion. Carmichael goes 1-1 and puts his stamp on yet another title. And let's not forget, Davey, the streak is still intact. He is perfect and has yet to be beaten this year in the Outdoor Nationals.
And look at that. He charged literally to the last corner. I mean, he never waved the crowd. I mean, that guy is all business.
Your winner, Ricky Carmichael at Steel City. The stars came out, but Ricky Carmichael shines the brightest. McGrath, Alessi, Reed, they're all here. But today's day belongs to Carmichael as he gets the victory. As we take a look at our Suzuki final results, Carmichael, Reed, Wyndham, Mike Alessi in 4th. Nick Way holds on to 5th place finish. And for the Alessi family, it was a great day for them. Mike Alessi really rode quite well. Speaking of the man, let's go down to Jamie Little.
Well, Ricky Carmichael clinched the championship after Moto 1, but he remains undefeated after 22 of 24 motos. Ricky, I'm sorry, but if I was Honda, I would be kicking myself. You're not going to be riding my motorcycle next year.
I definitely wanted to be there, you know, and just couldn't make it happen. I was bummed. It's kind of a, you know, my deal. It's a bittersweet deal, but you know, and I'm definitely, they got a great bike, and I just wish they could have done it. But people change, things change, and you know, time changes. And you know, I'm having a great time. Everybody at Honda has been really good as far as the race team, and I've had a good run with them for sure. Excited about next year, but we got one more race, and it's getting close. I think if I can win the first moto, second moto, there'll be a lot of pressure, you know, because you make it all that way, and for one more moto left to mess it up, that'd be a heartbreaker. But we got the important thing, the title.
Well, as we take a look at our Suzuki final results, it's Carmichael going 1-1, followed by Wyndham, and Mike Alessi makes an appearance up on the podium.
Real quick, tell us about that pass on Alessi.
Yeah, I just saw him up there, you know, and he got a good start. I mean, he's so light and just puts the power to the ground so good. I mean, he probably weighs about 100 pounds. So I saw him up there, and I just, you know, I saw I was reeling him in. I just wanted to keep going up there, you know, and there's so much controversy around him. And, you know, a lot of guys say he's got a bullseye on his back and stuff. And, you know, I wasn't going to go out there and just take him out, so I was just going to make the pass. Luckily, I did and was able to open up some room on him.
Oh, Kevin Wyndham, very somber. He is in a very tight battle with Chad Reed for that #2 overall position in the standings. Meanwhile, Jamie Little is standing by once again with young Mike Alessi.
What was the difference? Were the riders the same? Do you think people were pretty cool to you, or do you see that they're trying to break you in?
I just came here with a more realistic goal of a top 10, because last time my expectations were a little high. With I thought I could get third and top 5, and it took a race to learn about that and go out there and do it. But definitely I learned a lot from the first race and did it here.
That's right, Bevo. That's because that's the last time you'll ever